anti-national mob. Deshdrohis, terrorists. These people, gaddars, these people have attacked our Jawans, our soldiers who spent sleepless nights on the border, Indo-China border, Indo-Pakistan border. They spent sleepless nights so that we can have a night, a peaceful night, so we can sleep in the night. These Jawans, these soldiers have been attacked by these mobs. They have been slapped, they've been kicked, they've been punched on their face. And there's little to no reaction in India. Obviously, everybody's playing a vote bank politics here. So tonight, we're going to talk about these Jawans. These Jawans spend time on the border in minus 30 degrees Celsius cold weather at an altitude of 24,000 feet. They're stationed there. You know why? Not for holidays, so we can spend a night with our families. I'm alive here. I'm doing the show here. The people are here. Our channel is here only because of these soldiers. So TV5, ManaTV salutes these guys, these brave soldiers. How do we return their favor? We attack them. We ridicule them. We punch them. So tonight, the topic is about these anti-nationals attacking our CRPF Jawans a few days ago. That's the topic for tonight. To discuss this, we have three repeated panelists. Let me start by introducing them. We have Mr. Rakesh Kaul, who is an eminent writer. He's from Kashmir. He's from Srinagar. We have Ravinder Kaul, Dr. Ravinder Kaul. He has a PhD in physics. Hello, Ravinder.
Hello.
Hello, Rakesh.
How to do?
And we have Umesh Kaul. He's also from Kashmir. All the panelists, as you can see, are from Kashmir. That was intentional. I want Kashmiri voice. I want Kashmiri fearless voice today to be shown on television. How's everybody?
Great.
Fine.
Thank you
Great.
for having
Thank
us.
Sure. Is just my blood or everybody's blood is boiling?
No, it's quite dramatic to see that that army people getting attacked when they are trying to preserve the democratic norms in this state.
Right. Let's start with you, Rakesh. So, is this a norm in Kashmir, where the soldiers get attacked?
Let me answer that question by making a couple of points. One, this particular episode definitely represents a ratcheting up of the battle for Kashmir. And as you pointed out, this is a particularly graphic image because it captures the truth of Kashmir. You see democracy, the victim, being protected by our noble Jawan, and you see it being murdered by these so-called stone pelters, who are basically the human shield and the spear carrier for the terrorists.
I disagree. Don't use the word stone pelters. Stone pelters means people who pelt stones. These are not stone pelters. These are anti-national gaddars.
Exactly.
Please call them that. Please call them anti-nationals.
These are an extension of the militant terrorists. This is their striking out. But now let me just give to viewers a little bit of history so they understand what is the game that's being played. This attack on the CRPF is a playmaker that has been executed many times. The most famous episode was in January 1990, and it is the Gav Kadal plot, where a mob basically went and attacked a CRPF small group that was positioned guarding a bridge.
Just around the same time frame as the genocide happened.
Exactly.
Same time frame as genocide, where minorities in Kashmir were ruthlessly killed.
Yes. So I want to bring that to the fore, because in that particular instance, to defend themselves, the CRPF did fire back at this premeditated mob. Some of the people in the mob were killed. They used the masterminds, used that, and next day, several thousand came out. They attacked the CRPF, they attacked Hindu shops, they attacked Hindu establishments, and that was the start of the genocide. So I share that episode to help the viewers understand that this attack was not just on democracy, it was not just on the Jawan, but it is a repeat play to basically move forward with the establishment of a theocratic state that has a lot of history behind it and is a continuation of that mission.
I agree. Just to all those indifferent people who don't care about these episodes, the attack on that one person or two persons is not attack on that one person alone. It's an attack on entire 130 crore Indian population. That's how it should be treated. Please note that. Go ahead, Ravinder. What do you think about this? Is that a norm in Kashmir?
Yeah, I would like to actually make a couple of points prior to that. It is important to keep in mind that this is happening in only Kashmir Valley. Jammu is not involved in it, and Ladakh is not involved, and that constitutes almost about 75% of the territory of Jammu and Kashmir.
Why only in Kashmir? Valley.
Kashmir Valley has presented their intifada to create an Islamic state in the form of Azadi. In fact, in their slogans they would tell you all the time that the Azadi means Nizam-e-Mustafa, which means that they want to have Islamic rule over there. In that process, this genocide which you were just talking about in 1990 happened because they wanted to get rid of the minorities there who are not Muslims, Sunni Muslims there.
So it's purely targeted based on religion?
It is purely targeted based on religion. But it is presented to the external world always in the name of Azadi, that it is the fight for Azadi.
So sugar-coated with the word Azadi.
Because for external world it is Azadi, for internal consumption they know this Azadi means Nizam-e-Mustafa, and they will say it was in their slogans, it was in their pamphlets.
So they say it openly in the streets?
Yeah. They openly in the streets, they create pamphlets, they will blur it from the loudspeakers, and then they go in the mob.
Really?
Yes. These are things which they would say openly.
And nothing happens?
No, because in some sense the dispensation is with the hands of those who are
sorry, by happens I mean there's no there's no reaction to that, or
there is no dispensation is all in some sense, in my opinion, is associated with that, but the dispensation presents a mild phase, whereas the sloganers and the separatists present a more severe phase of the same movement.
Umesh, what do you think? Does it happen normally in Kashmir?
I can share a personal incident with you. I think I will, because I lived.
Yeah, very crisp, and then we'll get into details.
When I don't remember how old you were when India won presidential top in 1984, I believe, right? So I was watching. I lived in Kashmir at that time.
Yeah, just around Indira Gandhi's.
There was Indira Gandhi was killed in October. This was, I think, earlier than that. Yeah. So I was very happy, excited, right? And when India won, it was in the I think it was like around midnight when India won the match. So I was so excited, I screamed the top of my voice, and I was very excited. And next day, all the window panes of our house were broken, right? I'm telling you this, the stone pelting.
This is a personal,
real life incident. Right. So this is not what you see is change of strategy by
I want you to elaborate in one sentence. Why were your window panes all broken?
Because I was happy that India won the match.
So the crime this gentleman committed was, just so you know, it's a big crime. He should be punished. He should be hanged to death because he supported India in India. Oh my God, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
So. And so what you see right now happening is kind of the same storyline. But I grew up in the valley, so it was part of the normal routine. When India-Pakistan match would happen, you couldn't root for India. You had to keep quiet if you were walking on the street. If Pakistan was doing bad, you had to be careful when you walked on the street.
Oh,
right. So the narrative is same.
And you're from Srinagar, right?
Yeah.
And Srinagar is Pakistan or India? My geographical knowledge is very poor, so I want to make sure. It's in India, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
confirming.
I think what you see now is the kind of change of tactics, right? Earlier, when the terrorism started in 1989, right, you would see people, mostly militants, coming out, having gun battles with army, right? Now that didn't. I mean, after a few years, they realized it's not going anywhere, right? Now they're trying to bring it more mainstream, right? Because people were fed up of terrorism. Right. And I think you can link it to the more what you see going around the world. Because what you see is a mindset of a certain element of religion, right, being used to propagate a mindset which is very intolerant, right? And it doesn't believe in a nation state. It doesn't believe in law and order. It believes in a certain kind of theology, right, which is supreme,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And you see that being played out in a different way.
Right. Yeah. So my other question is, where was this so-called award wapsi gang, which made a big deal? I know you remember this, like last year, right? People were rejecting the awards, right? All the Sahitya Academy awards and all that stuff in the name of intolerance. If anything, I am intolerant towards the tolerance shown by the Jawans. Why are the Jawans so tolerant? I'm intolerant at that tolerance. The Jawan had an AK-47 in his hand. He could have killed those anti-national Gaddar. He didn't do that. That's tolerance, and I'm intolerant toward that tolerance. Anyway, so this award wapsi gang, what happened to them? Where did they hide? Before you answer the question, we have a call. Hello, welcome to Straight Talk. Please mention name and location. Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, please mention your name, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jagdish Kumar.
Hi, Jagdish. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have one question.
Sure, go ahead.
Which is, what should, I'm just thinking like, what are the different ways Indian government can use propaganda in Kashmir, whether using hoardings or using pamphlets to explain what all they're doing for Kashmir, and what all the people who want separation from Kashmir are doing against them. It seems that there is a vacuum between Indian government and the separatists. How can we use propaganda and information to acknowledge or, make them aware of their rights in
Correct.
India, and basically, let them know that this is not, that they don't lack freedom in India.
Right. The two things, Jagdish. One, Kashmiri incidents are always in national news. So it's not that people are unaware, number one. And number two, and before the panelists answer the question, number two, these so-called separatists, in the garb of nationalist parties, the so-called separatist parties who openly support the stone pelters, they make sure people are brainwashed. So they make sure whatever we pass along, all the good things, they make sure they filter that out. So that's their job. But anyway, so I'll let the panelists answer. Is that the only question you had, Jagdish, or did you have any other?
Yes, that's the only question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks for watching. Keep watching.
Thank you.
Anyone wants to answer?
I can
Sure, go ahead.
So I think his question, if I may repeat it, is basically what can the government of India do by letting the people in the valley know, hey, this is what we're doing, there's a miscommunication, so, have faith in us and we are on your side. I think, again, I think you have to link this to the narrative, because what you're fighting in valley is a mindset, right? A mindset of certain people who believe that their interpretation of a particular religion, right, is supreme, and that's how life needs to be lived. So I don't think that's the majority view, in the sense that they're so extreme. So there is two approaches, in my opinion, and I think that applies to this problem in general, wherever this problem is in the world. One is the immediate law and order problem, right, which is, if the guy is in front of the gun ready to kill people, you have to treat it as a law and order situation, right? So the law and order situation should be dealt with law and order policies, law and order measures, right? Then there is the idea of how do you beat them at the game of like this ideology, right? There, I think that's what you can adopt different strategies to basically build a counter narrative, right? And that has to be done across. I think it's not a problem isolated in Kashmir itself. It's a general problem wherever you see. It's the same problem. It's not because if you see it differently, you don't need different tools, because it's the same exact problem.
Okay.
So I want to.
Go ahead.
I want to first note that Jagdish's very question puts on the table, when he says, what can the government do? It is a tacit admission of the total failure for the last 70 years of the central government taking proactive steps against activities that were anti-national and fully visible. Now, let me give you some examples.
Before we go to example, I just want to show our viewers that video which brought my blood, all our blood, to the boiling point. Can we play the video, please?
Go India! Go back! Go back!
जोर ताकत हो रहा है मैं तो बहुत ज्यादा मैं विचार करी तवा स्पेशल के हम को
चुवा ना क्या है चुवा ना क्या चुवा का सी चुवा को क्या
Okay, Rakesh, go ahead.
So let me quickly highlight a couple of points. When Jagdish talks about the narrative, take JNU University. That's not in Kashmir, that's in Delhi. Has the government been able to even control the narrative, the poisonous narrative on Kashmir that is spewed out by the leftist Islamists combined?
They go there in JNU and talk about Kashmiri's Azadi.
In the heart of the capital of the nation. Point number 2. After the exodus of the Hindus out of the valley,
right,
according to official government estimates, 265 Hindu temples were destroyed. The community believes that over 550 temples were destroyed. They have been replaced by an equal number of Wahhabi-dominated funded mosques, where there is indoctrination taking place. See the imbalance, moving away from diversity to a theocratic society. Government of India has been watching this under their eyes and nose. I can give you countless examples where fundamentally the average resident in the valley has concluded that, you know what, it's not safe to be pro-India. It is not wise. The people who have opposed India, take Yasin Malik, a self-confessed murderer. Any nationalistic government would have said, hey, you behind bars. What happens to Yasin Malik? The leftist Islamists combined that control the narrative in Delhi invites him to an India Today conference. When a Hindu boy stood up and questioned him, he was taken by the security guards and moved out of that. This is happening in the heart of India.
Just so people know, Yasin Malik is the chief of Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front party, and he is. But he says on camera, he says he openly invites, with open arms, he invites all the Kashmir Pandits back to Kashmir.
But to be killed again, is it?
Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, that's right. He didn't say that part. Yeah, he just said openly invite. What, to do what? He never made it clear. That makes sense.
The same guy who in Pakistan was photographed sitting next to Hafiz Saeed.
Yep.
So his invitation should be viewed.
Oh, Pakistan. No, that brings up a good point. We'll talk about that too. Pakistan has a very interesting role to play in all this nonsense. Okay, so yeah, getting back to a question. So where is this Awad Wapsi gang which make a big deal? So where is Award Wapsi gang? Why are they not returning awards now?
I guess this doesn't fit in with their
In the pseudo-secular
narrative, which is basically to break India and preside over its dissolution.
But they talk about unity, integrity, diversity, and all sorts of sugary language.
Yeah, but you have you have to keep in mind that even when genocide happened, I mean, Kashmiris minority was thrown out. Minority Kashmiris were thrown out. Then at that time, also there was this news was completely suppressed, and none of them talked about it, because it would not have given them the title of being liberal and secular in Indian context if they would have brought up this issue, because this would be connected to the Hindus who are a minority in Kashmir.
Arun, it's very important what Rabinderji is saying. The word minority in India only applies to one community. Do you know, and do your viewers know,
67%
that
is the
Jammu and Kashmir state is the only state in the Union of India which doesn't have a minority protection bill, where the majority gets all of the minority benefits that the central government pumps into the states. There is in fact a court case after 70 years in front of the Supreme Court saying, what in the world is going on here?
The argument for that was, I'm glad you brought it up. The argument for that was the minority commission thing applies at a union, at a national level, not at a state level. That's the lame argument they're making. So, in that context, the minority will be minority everywhere. Not just Kashmir, Brakesh, even northeastern states. Even northeastern states, many of them have a significant Christian population. So, well, yeah, let's take one more call. Let's get back to that point. Hello, welcome Straight Up. Please mention name and location.
Hey Arun, this is Raghu from Dallas.
Hi Raghu, how are you?
Pretty good, Arun.
Good, good. Go ahead. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I was just hearing a caller's opinion about Jagdish. I guess his name was
Jagdish Kumar.
He was saying that why not Indian government distribute pamphlets or go
correct.
With get onto the mics and address about the safety of people.
Correct.
Say that they are along with the anti-nationals and all. First thing here. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. First thing, it is a disrespect in talking that to every army soldier, every soldier who are guarding us for our safety. And it's, on a personal note, I feel it is very humiliating, because there is no need for our government to say that we are there with you. No, those people, they are already been taken over by, mentally they think they are living in Pakistan.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
And we should, I don't know how that soldier who was beaten by those kids, they should have been shot there. There is no tolerance in this national issue.
Guess what, Raghu? If they get shot,
they should be shot.
If they get shot,
in one of the social media, one of them was asking me, it may be a gimmick of TRP funds. That is very, very disturbing for any Indian. I don't know why these people are talking like Kejriwal's here, where people want proofs of their surgical strike.
Correct.
That's a dishonor to the army men, man.
If they get shot,
safe.
it
Everybody
becomes a
in
human
India
rights
is living
issue.
just because they are safely guarded by these people on the border. If they have, if they want any proof, let them go find it on the border. Let's see how many of them come back home.
Correct. If they get shot, that will be a human rights issue.
Exactly, there's a human rights issue. I think there should be some kind of a way to let us talk to Barkadat and this Sardesai and all these people. I wonder where they are now. As you were mentioning about Awad Wapsi gang, yes, where are they now? Why don't they talk about this? And this lady, she tweeted there was a guy who was tied to the CRPF vehicle. I want Omar Abdullah and his father to be tied there instead of the gang.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the politicians and the statements. It's coming up. There's going to be a fearless debate. There's nothing to hide here. We're going to talk about everything. And all the comments made by those. But thank you, Raghu. Thank you for calling. Keep watching. Thank you.
I would just like to address this issue of question which Jagdish ji raised. The important point to realize is that they themselves say, the separatists themselves say, that they are not interested in jobs, they are not interested in economic welfare, they are interested in only one thing, And that one thing is that which they claim is Azadi, which actually means Nizam-e-Mustafa. They want to create an Islamic state in Jammu and Kashmir, and that's what they're interested in. So it's an ideological battle. It's not a battle about economic prosperity issues, number one. Therefore, I'm not sure that they would not know what Indian government does.
It's a shame. It should not be an ideological battle. It should be a nationalistic battle. It cannot be an ideological battle.
So for them, it's ideological. You have to realize that even this what so-called stone pelting.
No, don't call them stone pelters. They are Gaddars and Deshdrohis. They're not stone pelters.
But this model has been taken from Intifada, from Palestine. So they are actually adopting the similar measures what they adopted in Palestine. So it is pure. The model has been taken from the Islamic struggles, and that's what they are trying to do in Kashmir.
Just to allude to Raghu's points, the two things. One, he's right. Although it's a digression, I still want to mention this. Arvind Kejriwal, he shamelessly questions surgical strikes. What he does not realize, or maybe he does and does it intentionally, is by questioning the very act of the army, is questioning the army itself, questioning the army's bravery, questioning the army's valor. How dare you, Mr. Kejriwal, question our army, Indian army? I don't care what political party you belong to. As a matter of fact, I do not care anybody which political party they belong to, BJP, Congress, PDP, NC. I do not care. You have no right to drag army into your dirty politics. Number one. Number two, and look at these shameless comments. These are not Twitter comments. They're not Twitter. These are shameless comments. Omar Abdullah, after the Jeep incident, Mr. Omar Abdullah, he has time to come to Harvard. I met him personally, right? He has time to come to Harvard, talk about all the diversity and all that secular stuff. And when he goes back home, after this the army incident happens, he doesn't find time, right? And then right after the Jeep incident happens, where a stone pelter, no, I correct myself, this Gaddar, the anti-nationalist, has been tied to the Jeep and roamed around in the streets. They did not even hurt this guy. Look at the humanity of our army. He has time, he responds right away within the fraction of a second, and he says, oh, I definitely condemn, I quote, I definitely condemn the use of a civilian as a shield. Do you know what shield means, Mr. Omar Abdullah? Shield is protecting yourself against a firing. That's shield. No one is firing anybody here. That's not a shield. That's a shield you used to cover your dirty politics. That's the shield. Yes, that's a shield. That's Mr. Omar Abdullah. Number one. And number two, Farooq Abdullah. Stone pelters are nationalists. They work for the betterment of the nation. What nonsense is this, Mr. Farooq Abdullah? You won an election, Srinagar by-elections with 2% voting. Shame on you guys. And this is the 3-time chief minister, right? And he's the president of the so-called National Congress. And I can go on. Junaid Mattu, he comes on a national channel and he says, "Bhaad mein jao." How dare you, Junaid Mattu? You cannot say that. On a national channel, you say this. And many other people. And the other spokesperson, Tanvir Sadiq, he comes on a national channel and says, this video is fake. Guess what? You are fake, your party is fake. You guys are supporting those forces which work against India. Junaid Mattu and Tariq Sadiq, remember this. Your party is fake. And I can go on. And then Shabnam Lone, she's a very popular lawyer. She always has a soft corner for separatists. She calls her Bacche. I speak Hindi and I teach Hindi. My Hindi is very good. And I know what Bacche means. Bacche are not short pelters. Bacche meaning kids. These are not Bacche. They don't attack. Bacche means kids who drink Boost. Kids who drink Bournvita. Kids who drink milk. Go to school, do homework. Those are Bacche. These are not Bacche. These are Gaddars. This is not Hindustani Hindi. Maybe she speaks Pakistani Hindi. These are Gaddars. These are not Bacche. Don't ever call them Bacche again. That's Shabnam Lone. And then CPM, Communist Party of India. Oh yes, they come into play. They say the army should be punished. All of this nonsense happens in India. You know why? Because we protect democracy. Only in the name of democracy, Loktantra, you guys are able to do this. If you go to your favorite country, Pakistan, you'll be hanged to death. Just like they're doing it to Kulbhushan Jadhav. Instigating wrong cases, fake cases against him. They kidnap him and put cases on them, and they deny consular access to him 14 times. Which country in this world, which part of the United Nations does that? Shame on you. Pakistan supports this terrorism. Pakistan funds the stone pelters. Sorry guys, go ahead. We were talking about the Pakistan's role before, right? What do you think? Does Pakistan have a role to play in this?
Well,
It has been proven on television. They reopened all those terrorist camps which were destroyed as part of surgical strikes.
so just to share a personal story, when India and Pakistan were given independence and Kashmir, the Maharaja was trying to figure out what to do, Pakistan sent in the tribesmen,
Pakhtun tribes.
and these were horrible, horrible people. So they entered Baramulla, and the first question they asked, which in retrospect probably saved Kashmir for India, is they asked, who's the wealthiest person here? And so they were given some names. My great-grandfather's name was there. And so they went to the general neighborhood. His neighbor identified my great-grandfather. They shot him, killed him, dragged his dead body, and left it on the streets. So from the creation of Pakistan to this day, they've had this one pointed objective, which is that let us poison Kashmir,
The brains of the people.
and through that process take Kashmir away from India. They have been inexorable in their mission. The problem is that on the Indian side, the Awad Wapsi gang, our own politicians, have simply refused to see this very crystal clear mission that, hey, you have an enemy. While this thing was happening in the valley, can you believe it? There was a group of Indians meeting with the Pakistan ambassador in the so-called track to diplomacy, and over a cup of tea and kebabs and whatever, pontificating about peaceful relationships. Peaceful relationships are desirable, but they have to be desirable on terms that respect the sanctity of India.
Right, before Umesh, I know Umesh wanted to comment. Talking about the comment in Pakistan, it reminds me, Saifuddin Sos, Congress leader, goes to Pakistan. In Pakistan, he says this: India is a reason for Kashmir problem. He says this in Pakistan. Guess what will Pakistani media report? He goes to Pakistan and says India is a reason, and he carries an Indian passport. Shame on you, Saifuddin Sos, and shame on Congress for supporting this National Congress Party. How dare you go to Pakistan and say India is the reason for the Kashmir issue? How dare you say that? Go ahead, Umesh. What's the role of Pakistan in this?
I think first let me comment on India.
Yeah.
Right, it was like Nehru who was a Kashmiri Pandit. I don't know how many of you.
He's a mastermind behind this whole debate.
So he started the problem by going to United Nations, right? And since that Nehru's step, right, until I would say, until I think Modi did the surgical strike, you can see a continuum of the same policy. BJP, the Vajpayee came in between. You can kind of ignore that period. It was just 5 years, right? But you can summarize that India has been apologetically, very apologetic about Kashmir. You can see it, right? Everything, every step they say is, even like revoking Article 370 is not on the table. Why not? They should just take that step, revoke Article 370. You know why it's not on the table? Because they're afraid that this may worsen the situation. What worse can you get? You already have the worst situation now after, what, 29 years of Hindus haven't been forced to leave the valley, killed, right? No minorities left. What do you have there now, right? So I don't think blaming Pakistan is...
I'm not blaming.
Right,
I am. They have a role to play, is what I'm saying.
They're your enemy. So what do you want them to do, right?
Constant infiltration across the border.
Yeah.
They constantly.
I think that is to be dealt militarily, politically. But you have a situation in the valley, right? Look at how China took Tibet, and what is Tibet today?
And the shameless leaders of Hurriyat Gilani, they go there and eat biryanis.
These people are being treated in AIIMS and Indian hospitals for ailments, right? At government expense.
Gilani, he refuses, I don't know if you remember, he refuses to call himself Indian on the application form when he applied for the passport. Do you know that? He refuses to be called Indian. Then get out of India if you don't like India. They're not forcing you. That's what Gautam Gambhir said. Kashmir is ours, leave the nation. For every jihadi, that's what Gautam Gambhir, the cricketer, said. For every jihadi, I'm sorry, for every army person, one person we will claim 100 jihadis.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I mean, leave the. That's the apology tip. See, when you let these separatists, right, apply for Indian passport, keep Indian view. He doesn't want to check box the Indian citizen.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? You're basically apologetic. You're saying, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing this. Let me give him a pass.
You guys are Pakistani agents. That's what they are.
But it's not just merely being apologetic. The simple point is that most human beings respond to positive and negative incentives to change their behavior. If you go to Kashmir Valley today, you will not see anywhere else in the world the kind of jobless prosperity that exists in the valley. I can tell you, even the poorest of poor is living in a home that will put to shame the average Delhiwala. You mentioned the names of lawyers, chief ministers, and others, okay?
Take the names, those are facts.
Okay. Drive past their homes. See what magnificent palaces they have built. On hills that are ecologically fragile where there should be no construction. They are building private sheikdoms right there. This prosperity is being funded with a blank check by the Indian taxpayer. Umesh mentioned about Gilani and the Hurriyat. The government of India, I think, officially disclosed, was it 100 crores?
Yeah,
or
it goes towards their, yes.
Just their protection, and
security.
upkeep. What in the world? Is that what China spends on the upkeep of the Dalai Lama, who they see in similar terms as a separatist? And Dalai Lama has not armed rebellion against China.
On the security thing, Omar Abdullah and Farooq Abdullah, if you guys have a problem with the security personnel and you instigate stone pelters, give up on your Z plus security, 10 plus NSG commanders and police force. How dare you blame them and you take their own security? Shame on you, Farooq Abdullah. Shame on you. Give back the security and then you can blame whomever you want. जिस थाली में खाते हो उसी में छेदते हो तुम लोग.
Yeah, I think.
How dare you say against my security personnel? And to all those ignorant fools out there who think there's Chinese Kashmir, there's Pakistani Kashmir, no! There's only one Jammu Kashmir that belongs to the Union of India as per the Instrument of Accession signed by Hari Singh Maharaja in 1948. There's only Indian Kashmir. There's no Chinese Kashmir and there's no South Tibet. Arunachal Pradesh is part of India. You get that, China? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that what I mean by apologetic threat is basically, giving them money, people not paying taxes, right? Jobless growth. That's exactly. You won't find if you travel in the valley, you don't find Kashmiri beggars.
Yep.
The beggars are from outside. The people who work in the fields are from UP and Bihar. The labor comes from outside. So when you talk about that these are unemployed youth, no, they're not unemployed youth. They are misguided youth by the mindset which is prevalent all over the place, right? Wherever this problem exists.
I wanted to interject for a couple of points regarding what Rakiji said. When these peaceniks were having conference in Delhi, what they do not realize that Pakistan doesn't really want peace. The reason simply is, the symptoms of that is that they are creating the generations of the younger generations who they teach on hatred against Hindus in India. Yeah. This is in their textbooks, which came in United Nations, etc., and they have not changed their textbooks. So how do you expect the coming generations or the younger generations in Pakistan who are brought up in this feed of the hating the Hindus and hating India, that they will want to have peacefulness with India. So that in some sense is a disconnect between in our peaceniks and the correspondingly activities they are involved in. The one thing I should also realize that the funding for this stone pelting which comes, it comes from Pakistan.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
When demonetization happened, suddenly this thing stopped because 500,000 rupees they were getting per day for stone pelting, and that suddenly stopped. It has come back to some extent. Probably the new funding may have come from Pakistan, but it has come back, and this is primarily used for two purposes. That whenever a terrorist is being pursued, the children are kept in the front for stone pelting, so that they can allow the terrorists to run away, and the security forces do not apprehend them. So that is one of the purposes of that. And in the case of this person who was tied to the jeep, people should know this happened primarily because there was EVMs which were there was a place where the ballots were taking place, and there were 9 police personnel who were actually guarding that region. It was surrounded by 900 people who were attacking them, and they couldn't have held. So therefore, in order to save the lives of the people, so that they don't have to shoot, and the situation becomes worse, they put the person on the jeep, so that they would not attack the jeep, and they would avoid shooting at the population.
And another jeep issue. We are not prepared to lose even one Jawan for these Gaddars. If one Gaddar, that's how he needs to be treated, by putting him in a jeep and taking him around the streets, I don't care. I'm not willing to lose even one army Jawan's life. A few comments by celebrities. Anupam Kher. If this is what happened to armed personnel today, can you imagine what would have happened to unarmed, innocent Kashmiri Pandits long time ago? Number 1, Gautam Gambhir. For every slap on my army's Jawan laid down, at least 100 jihadi lives should be taken away. Whoever wants Azadi, leave now. Kashmir is ours. This is Gautam Gambhir. Virendra Sehwag also supported Gautam Gambhir. So there's one more thing I noticed, any of you can answer. There is some sort of ignorance in our nation too. People say, no, it's Kashmir problem, that's fine. I'm not mentioning any locations, but unless something becomes an issue in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Madras, it does not come to limelight. This is blatant ignorance. Dogri is my language. You know why? Because not my mother tongue. Because 3 million people speak Dogri. That's why it's my language. Kashmiri, 6 million people speak the language. It's my language. It's part of the 22 officially recognized language. So this ignorance also has to stop. What do you think? Do you think there is some sort of an ignorance by other states in India?
Well, I'm glad you raised this point, because very few Indians today understand the role of Kashmir, how core it is to our Indic civilization. It is core to our Indic civilization. When we do Bharatnatyam dance, do we know that Bharata the Muni wrote Natya Shastra in Kashmir? Yoga, do we know Patanjali was from Kashmir?
Yep.
Do we know that Gurmukhi, which is the language of the Punjabi Sikhs, came from Sharda script of Kashmir?
Yep.
So I can go on and on, but Kashmir is core to the understanding of Indic civilization. It has enormous geostrategic significance to India. It is the part of India that has access to Central Asia, that has access to Russia, and that has access to our future. There is no way that India will ever give up 1 centimeter of the entire state of Jammu and Kashmir, come hell or high water.
Yes.
That belongs to India, that will be part of India. Now there are people who decide that through the power of the gun, they're going to fight India. He who lives by the gun will die by the gun. No tears need be shed for those people.
I should add to that, Rakesh, while
and then Umesh, you can also talk.
He's mentioned about waters. What people do not realize, that Kashmir is the source of the five major rivers which go through it, and part of it go to
Jhelum and Chenab and all that.
But Sindhu comes from
Indus.
there.
Indus.
Ravi, Byas,
Ravi,
Satluj, Chenab. They are all rivers which come into India.
Correct.
And eventually go to Pakistan. And this is effectively the lifeline of India's farmers.
Correct.
And the people who are talking about, they're not concerned about that. They do not know the strategic importance, strategic importance of Kashmir. And and in fact, part of the reason Pakistan's this thing must be because they want to control the headwaters of the.
And that's why they're raising a hue and cry about that water,
exactly.
the project being built on the Jhelum river.
Sindh River. So and another thing which has happened in the last 70 years is that the previous governments did not made every effort to not connect India length and breadth from the historical sense of it, and did not provide the historical perspective.
Yeah, we'll take the call. Hello, welcome to Straight Talk. Please mention your name. Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello, Arunji.
Yeah, yes, sir. Please mention your name.
Hi, my name is Venkat, calling from Sacramento, California.
Hello, Venkat. How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
Good. You watching the show?
Yes.
You liking it?
Yes, it's a great show. Thank you.
All right, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, my question is basically, I've been watching the news about Farooq Abdullah and Omar Abdullah, the backing of the throne-stowing youth. So being in the opposition party, okay, I believe they have a better responsibility, to ease the situation. But what they are doing right now is, I have to believe that all their intention is to topple the current government and then get back to the power. So it's all to me it looks like a power politics. And so can you and other the host express comments on this?
Sure. It's not looking. It is power politics. Guess what? If they do not support the separatists, or if they do not support stone pelters, you know what? People will start voting on the basis of development. And they do not want that. The shops will not run. These anti-national gaddars cannot rule the roost, cannot rule the state. They want power, they want the seat. That's what they want. And yes, I'll let the others, Umesh, go ahead.
I think what I get from, I don't know the name of the caller. I'm sorry.
He's calling from Sacramento.
So,
Venkat.
Venkat, hi Venkat. So, I think what you are saying is, I would say, partly true, because that's what politicians do. But there is a deeper meaning to what they're doing, and there's a bigger problem there, right? And what you have seen since independence, right, is one major political party has been ruling India for so many years, right? And they built a narrative.
Take the name.
Yeah, Congress. I mean, they have built a narrative. There are people in all education institutions. They actually adhere to their viewpoint, right? So, for last 70 years, you have a generation of institutions, people, population, right, who have been heard and taught that this is what India is. This is what news gets out in the media is what they decided at that point. What Venkat knew about the Kashmir problem is, I don't know how old he is pretty much was decided by the Congress governments over the years, right? And that has played a major role. And I'll give you a personal example. When we were thrown out of the valley, right, I was in Pune studying at that time, and my parents and my sister, my mom were there, right? So I left, and I found out that they had to leave overnight the valley,
I think
right?
Pune University gives a reservation to Kashmiri Pandits, right?
So yeah. So what I found out there was, and here I am in Pune, right? People knew that I am from Kashmir, and that's all they knew, right? They did not know about what the demographics is, or what the problem is, right? And as I spent more and more time, right, I started finding out that if there was a riot in, let's say, some other part of the India, where let's say a riot against Muslims, right? I'm not justifying any riot, right? I'm saying if there was a riot, it made big news. Venkat would probably hear like 100 times more about it than 500,000 Kashmiri Pandits. There were 500,000 Kashmiri. I want actually every viewer to know. There were 500,000 Kashmiri Hindus in the Kashmir Valley in summer of 1989, right? and by the summer of 1990 there were 5,000 people. So in about 7 to 8 months, right, we were reduced from 500,000 to 5,000 people. How many people know that? But compare
Many
that
people
to
do not even know that Kashmir, India got independence on August 15, 1947, but Kashmir was not part of India.
Right.
Kashmir became part of India only in 1948. October 27, that's when Kashmir became part of India.
Again, at that dissemination of this information, this was before the cable TV revolution, this was before a lot of light, but it was very limited. Government decided what they wanted to know you, right? And even now, even after the cable TV like news and internet, you still see the same. And I don't blame the current government that much. They haven't had that much time. But it's like, if you take the example of America, right? It's like,
we have 30 seconds.
Let's say Republicans ruled for 70 years. You
Right.
can understand. Or Democrats rule, right? You will have institutions who are Democratic party thinkers, right? So I think that's the state of India, and you can see a lot of that in.
So we will have another show on, especially on the issues related to Kashmir, especially the genocide and Kashmiri minorities. So before we end the show, final comments on how should we look at the attack on our Jawans in 2 lines.
Zero tolerance policy. If you touch a Jawan, if you take a hostile action against a Jawan, he has complete right to respond based on his best judgment of the situation, and human rights activists, shut up.
Ravinder?
I would agree with that. The government has to take a very tough stand in Kashmir. Appeasement is not going to help. In fact, the most of the news which they cover is they keep covering about the valley of the Kashmir. They should give a broader perspective about what is happening in the rest of
Ladakh, include Jammu,
including Jammu, and what their perspective is. Because the way it is presented by the media, it accentuates the situation than actually it is. Because if you bring in the Jammu area and Ladakh area, etc., you will suddenly see the large proportion of our area is not against, do not want to form the Nizam-e-Mustafa or the Islamic State there.
I think for the Jawans, don't be apologetic, treat it like a law and order situation, be tough, but at the same time, right, don't keep that as your only strategy. Same time, be open to like battling the ideological battle of their goal of a theocratic state, right? So battle on both fronts, because if you just be tough militarily, it's not going to result into a solution. That itself by itself, you just strong militarily itself is one track. The other track is like play the mind game.
And before we end the show, I want us to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So the Jawan in Kashmir can hear that. Bharat Mata Ki
Jai!
Bharat Mata Ki
Jai!
Bharat Mata Ki
Jai!
And that Bharat includes every inch of the soil of Jammu and Kashmir. That's our property, belongs to Bharat. Thank you very much for watching our show. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, with another show. And this Tuesday, we have a very renowned ex-member of Parliament, Madhu Yashki, coming to my show as a guest. Please watch that show. Thank you very much. Until then, Jai Hind, Panoon, Kashmir.